Hi everybody, this is Harmony with Harmony Stitches and welcome to my channel. Here we talk about my crafting journey, which usually revolves around cross stitch with some knitting and crochet. And I've said several times, it's just crazy to me how my crafting has evolved, because I used to pretty much be crochet only, and now I very rarely crochet, and cross stitching has dominated my crafting for about 3 years now. So it's funny how things change along the way. Welcome everybody who is new or returning. I appreciate all of you taking time out of your day and your schedule to sit down and hang out with me a little while I talk about my crafts. If you want to catch all of the videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and then the bell to ensure, for all notifications. And that way YouTube is supposed to give you a notification every time that I upload a new video. I do find that feature for myself super handy, so that way I don't miss any of my favorite YouTubers. Okay, so it is July. I decided that on top of summer sock camp, I was going to do patriotic stitching in the craft stitch side of things. And I had some plans, and let me show you how far I got toward those plans. You know what? Let's talk about summer sock camp first. So I was doing the double snare sock. If you remember last week, I showed you the completed sock. I really do love this green. It's so vibrant. It probably does not come across. I think it was last Monday night, so on 4th of July. I got done cross stitching. I wanted to give my fingers a break, and I'm like, you know what? I have enough time to get the cuff done on sock number 2. And I did. But then the next morning, I realized something. And let's see if you guys can figure it out. Sock number 1 and sock number 2. Yep, on sock number 1, I did knit 1, purl 1 ribbing, and on sock number 2, I did 2x2 ribbing. And I think I'm gonna leave it. This pair is for me. I very rarely wear my knit socks out of the house just because I don't want to wear them inside my shoes. And I've been wearing skinny jeans for the last couple of years, and it's really hard to get them underneath your skinny jeans. And they're not being entered into the fair, so I think I'm going to leave it. I like both 1x1 and 2x2 rib, so I'm going to leave it. This is actually to the point where I'm supposed to start the chart for the lace, and that's where it's going to stay. I'm not ripping it out. If you're new here, or maybe if you just didn't catch it, I don't like to purl. So ribbing to me is quite awful because you have to purl all the time to get through the ribbing. So yeah, it took me about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour to do a cuff, and I'm not ripping it out. So, that's where it is. I thought we were going to go on a day trip, so I was going to knit that sock on the day trip, but we didn't end up going. So, but I did get the cuff done, and the sock itself won't take any time at all once I get back to it, and we'll see. I'm sure there's pockets of time somewhere that I can knit that sock. Okay. Then I think I was finished. Did I finish Abraham Lincoln? I think I finished Abraham Lincoln when I filmed my video last. And then there was 2 days where I finished my strand in Lady Liberty, which I'll show you in a little bit. So I was able to start on the whale. I got 1 strand in. But by the time that I found the piece of fabric that went to that chart, measured, got my strand of floss, and got started, I got like 10 stitches in before I had to go to work. And then the next day I just was able to finish the strand. But I do technically have a start on it. And anytime that I finish Lady Liberty in the morning, if I can finish that 1 strand and I have extra time, I will pick that one up and put in as many stitches as I can before I have to leave. there's board meeting tomorrow. I might get a little tiny bit of time, but I don't know what I'm going to work on. So that was Prairie, the Prairie Schooler Stars and Stripes. I'm stitching it on 28 count Monaco Ivory and with the called for DMC floss. And I think it looks great. Now, sometimes the white is hard to see, but the white is usually next to red or blue. It's not just on its own mostly. So I figured it was going to work out okay. Okay, so the next thing I picked up was Memorial Day by Hands On Design. And this one, I had a goal of working on it for 3 days. So I did get 3 days into this one, minus a lunch break. I got to lunch, or to break out on whatever day, I must have been Tuesday. Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, Tuesday. And I forgot my travel needle case. So I didn't have scissors, I didn't have my needles. So I couldn't work on it. But I do believe that I got some pretty good progress considering I only had 2 strands in this when I picked it back up this year, or this time around. So I finished the flagpole, started on the clothesline. The blue part of this flag is done, and I started on the words, and I'm making progress on the grass. And I just kind of figured that I wanted to kind of work straight up and then over at the same time to work across the page. So there's 11 more stripes on that flag that have to be stitched in. But I did get my 3 days in. So this might come back out. I'm sure that there's extra time in the month. We're just going to see because I don't have plans for those extra days yet. Okay, so the one that I've been talking about, Lady Liberty by Keslyn's. This one is, I'm sorry, going back to Memorial Day is being stitched on 28 count Monaco white with the called for DMC conversion that's listed on the chart. Lady Liberty by Keslyn's is also on 28 count white Monaco, and I'm using Blacksmith blue and ribbon red from Classic Colorworks. This is stitched on, stitched on the 28 count Monaco, but I'm doing it 1 strand over 1 thread on the fabric. So it's 1/1. She did it on 25 count Lugano 1/1 using Gloriana threads. And you don't have to stitch anything the way that the designer said you have to stitch it. So just because the designer behind Keslyn's stitched it 1/1 doesn't mean that you have to. You can stitch it 2/2 or 1/2 or whatever you prefer. You can stitch it on Aida. The only thing is it's going to be much larger and you're going to go through a lot more floss. But you also don't have to use hand-dyed, over-dyed floss. You can use DMC. You can just pick your favorite red, pick your favorite blue. As long as they don't clash and they go together, stitch away. You don't have to do 1/1. There's one of my very favorite YouTubers, the last 3 weeks in a row, or the last 3 videos in a row, she has said it's supposed to. No, that's just how the designer created it. That's their model stitching. It's like a guide for you. You can do whatever you want. It's just like a knitting pattern or a crochet pattern when the designer used, say, a 5mm hook or needles. That doesn't mean you're supposed to use 5mm needles. That's just what they used, and that's the gauge that they got with that needle size. You need to use the needle or the hook size that works best for you to get that gauge. So if you don't like doing 1/1 and you want to stitch on Aida, or you want to stitch on 28 count but do 2/2, or you want to stitch on 40 count 1/2, do whatever makes you happy in this circumstance, because this is a pretty big project and you don't want to get into it and then just quit because it's not for you, because stitching 1/1 isn't for everybody. Now, with all of that being said, there are 2 colors in this and they don't mix. So you've got the blue part of the flag, you've got the red part of the flag, and then you've got the eagle's head. They're not mixed. It's different when you have a design and you have to like skip a stitch for that color, skip a stitch for that color, and you've got some confetti going on. It's not like that. This is complete block stitching, which makes it easier. I would say if there's a project for you to get started in 1/1 stitching, this is it. You could start with the very small, excuse me. She includes a small button size. You could start with that one and see how you like it, because then it's a much smaller project. And if you don't like it, then don't continue on with the big project. But enough of that, I'm going to show you my progress. So here is where I've gotten to, stitching one strand every day in the morning. So in the morning after I get ready for work, if I have any extra time, I will pick up one strand and I will start stitching this. So I am making pretty good progress. I was talking to my daughter about it and estimating, and I do think that I'm going to be able to get through 6 stars. So by the time I'm done at the end of the month, I should have 6 visible stars on this one. Now, I will say that I did not account for going over into the second page, and that's taking up some of my stitches that I wanted to have over here in the stars, but it really doesn't matter because a stitch is a stitch. Each stitch gets me closer to a finish, and I'm going to get there eventually. So tomorrow when I pick up my next strand, I'm going to start working here and cover the part in between the 2 stars. And that's what I've been doing. I've just been going back and forth to try to have it at the same level because I'm working in rows across. So I am really liking this project so far, and I really am enjoying it. The 1/1, like I said, on this project is not difficult at all because you don't have to really think about it. You just get to go. So recap so far, I have finished my goal on the Prairie Schoolers because I wanted to finish the Abraham Lincoln block and at least get a start on the next one. So check that one off. I did get my 3 days into Memorial Day. Check that one off. So far, I am keeping up with Lady Liberty. So let's check that one off. And then the next one on my list was sorry, I still have that COVID cough thing and it just comes out of nowhere sometimes. Let's see. Not Memorial Day. I already did that one. This is Seasons in Chalk, Stars and Stripes by Hands On Design. Original chalk artwork is by Priscilla from Stitching with the Housewives. I will insert a picture of what it's supposed to look like in case you're not familiar. This one I'm stitching on 28 count black Monaco with the called for DMC conversion that's listed on the chart. As you can tell, that a lot of the times I actually do use the DMC conversion because the over dyed or the hand dyed floss just really isn't in my budget, and that's okay. Again, use what you like. And this is my start. So I started this on Friday, stitched on it Saturday. I will stitch on it today, and then I will have my 3 days in and have this one complete. So what I'm going to work on is the petals and then the center of the flower. And really by the time I get those done, I really might be running out of time because it's almost 3 p.m. here as I'm filming. So I really might run out of time, but that's okay. Okay, I have 2 other Patriotic stitches for this go round, and one is Lady of the Flag. I have to get 806 stitches. So once I get all of these other projects done, then I'm going to really like buckle down, be a big person and do my 806 stitches in Lady of the Flag. And then but before I get started on that, I have one more new start, and it's Liberty Eagle by the Blackbird Designs. I am doing DMC conversion. I pulled out some of the floss. I thought I had a red one. Oh, I do have a red one. I think I'm only missing one color, and it's for Weeks Dye Works Oak, and it says to blend. There's 2 blends in here, but I don't do blending. I don't like the way that it looks. DMC 422 and 3047, blend those together. But As it so happens, I do not have 422 or 3047. So I really don't know what I'm going to do with that. I think ecru would look good in its place because it's these Quaker stars and some of it kind of looks ecru and some of it kind of looks brown. So it just depends. I don't have fabric pulled for this, but I think if I have a remnant of like a scrap piece of 30 count linen that I may stitch this on. I just have to pull it out. I don't like that linen, but it will do. I stitched, if you've been with me a while and you saw, oh, when was that? In January, way back in January, I finished the 12 Days of Christmas by Plum Street Samplers. It's a freebie that they have on their blog. I think that was in January. If not, it was last year, and I do apologize. Sometimes I can't keep this stuff straight because I stitch so many things. But it's the same fabric as I stitched that on, and I have a piece, and I think it might be big enough because this isn't, let's see, this was stitched on 30 count Creek Bed Brown by R&R Reproductions. So it's still 30 count, and she says that the sampler size is 8 1/4 by 6 7/8, and I bet you my piece is plenty big enough. So I just haven't taken the time to pull it out because I was working on the other projects. But I have the gray, I have, well, it's red, but it's supposed to be a faded red, baked apple pie or something. This is 3722, which is kind of a pinky red. I have my green, I have my brown, and I have my blue, which I really do like this blue and the pink together. So that's going to work really well, I think. I just need to figure out what I'm going to do with the oak because it does take the place of the white, see, in the flag. So I think I might just use ecru. I think. If you have an opinion on it, go ahead and comment below, because I'm not starting this until tomorrow. So, and I'm starting with the border anyway, so I have plenty enough time to get your comments in and read it and see what happens and what you guys have to say. So, okay. I just have one purchase, one item, and it's a finishing piece. I have had my eye on this since the 4th of July pieces came out into the grocery store. I have a department store. Some of you here in mid-Michigan are aware of it. It's called Meyer. If you're out of state or out of country or something, then it's just a department store where mostly it's groceries, but it has things like books and magazines, office supplies, a pet department, small crafting, clothing, a small auto department, things like that. So it's like a department store, but mostly it's for groceries. It was $16.99 regular price, but it was on clearance, and I got this for $5. So the original use for this, you put a tea light or a votive cup in there, and it would be a very cute candle holder. But of course, I'm going to stitch something small and patriotic and stick it on the front, and I think it's going to be lovely. But at $5, I couldn't pass it up. I was not going to pay full price for it, but $5, sure thing. They did have red ones, blue ones, and white ones. The blue one was a little banged up, and then the white one, I just really didn't, I thought it would get dirty, so I just got the red one, and I'm really excited about it. Have no idea what I'm going to put on it yet, but I will figure it out later. Maybe the little button flag from Lady Liberty, or maybe something completely different. I think I have a couple freebies on my phone, so we'll see what happens and what I find. But not this year. I already have enough patriotic stitches to keep me busy this year. We'll save that for next year. I have a whole pile of things over there, and we'll get to it when we get to it. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me this week. Excuse me. I hope that you saw something to inspire you to either pick up something that's been languishing in your whip pile, whether it's crochet, knitting, or cross stitch, or even something else, or maybe to pick up something and try a new craft. I hope that you found some inspiration this week, and I hope that in the week to come you find some crafting time. Until then, bye.